Hi guys, John here. This video today is going to be an update video. I'd just like to say sorry I haven't made an update video of this reef tank or my bearded dragons if you follow me on that part as well. I've just had a couple of stuff come up. Nothing happened to the animals. Everything's fine. It was just school and stuff like that. But hopefully I'll get back into the groove now. Now, not many, actually a lot of things have changed since I've last seen or done an update of my reef tank. Quite a few things have changed, and for the good and the bad, I'd say. Not many things have gone bad, but I'd like to say a lot of things have gone good and everything's doing fine. Now, things that have changed in my tank at the moment is my angel is out. I'm not entirely sure if I had covered that in my last update video. I don't believe I did, or I may have, but anyway, my angel is out. I had a Heraldi angel and it was causing a bit of trouble for my clownfish, and therefore I chose to get rid of it and swap them. I remember now. Swap them for these two clownfish. Now, a lot of people have been asking me questions or have been supposedly telling me that my clownfish, because I already have an established pair, will not go together. And for you guys that are observant, you've already seen there's a box in the tank. And no, my clownfish have not been in that box for 2 months. I've actually added a new fish into the tank, and once again the clownfish have been aggressive towards it, and therefore I put them in this box. But I'll get to that in a second as to what I have changed. Now, in saying that, a lot of people, as I've had I have two photon clownfish and two black and white ocellaris clowns. Many people have, I'd say, rudely said that you can't keep 4 clownfish in a tank of this size, which is the 120 litre mini reef. And I just wanted to say, on behalf of me and anyone who doubted that or thought they knew what they were talking about, that they don't. Clownfish can very well live together when there's an established pair already in the tank. And I think that's a lot of the problems when people come, when you hear a lot of the horror stories in regards to people having clownfish and then putting more clownfish into the tank. Stuff happens, and usually they only end up with 2 clownfish again, because the other clownfish ended up killing the other pair. But in this instance, what I did, I had my established pair of photon clownfish, as you can see in this box. They are a lovely pair. They are 100% a pair. As you can see, my female is the big one and my male is the small one. And then I have my 2 black and white ocellaris clownfish. And what people were telling me, that they will fight, they'll kill each other, how could you, you're cruel. But those people don't know from experience, or they're going off what other people have said. My whole learning curve of doing these videos are showing you by experience and telling people what I've experienced, whether it is good or bad. So I'm not going off what someone thinks or have happened, or have read in a book, this is how you should, because many things happen that you shouldn't do, but it just happens. And in saying that, I have 4 clownfish in a 120 litre tank, and they get on perfectly. Yes, there's the odd scuffle, and my female and male do still have a little bit of a fight with these other 2 clownfish, which are not yet a pair, and I do believe they will stay not a pair, because I have already a pair in the tank, because I see no reason why these 2 would become a pair when there's already a pair in the tank, and my female is making sure they don't, because she's very aggressive to them. When I wouldn't say at the start, but at the start she was very aggressive, and I think that was just her getting them to know that she's the boss and they're not going to form a pair. And that's what happened. A lot of people have clownfish and they end up killing each other, because I think people just kind of let it let stuff happen. They put them in and leave them. Me, not so much. I put them in, left them, put them in, like took them out, put them in, took them out, and really I worked them in slowly. And that was something I took a lot of care and effort in doing. As you can see, if I'll show you, there's no nipped tails on any of these clownfish or fins or anything of that sort. So you can clearly tell I'm not just telling you this. I'll just put the lights up in this tank. And you can clearly see I'm not just telling you this from like showing you afar, and like if I went up and they had been ripped tails or anything like that, then you would have been a little bit sus. But as you can see, they've no nipped fins or tails. As you can see, they're right outside the box. They want to get in there, but it's too small for those two clownfish. The really only two ones that are aggressive to the new fish, which I'll tell you in a second, are my pair. The other things that have changed in the tank, and you may or may not have known this, I've got a couple new corals, and I've lost a couple of corals. The corals, I'll start off with what I have lost. All I have lost is my elegance coral. My elegance coral, or also known as our Giardini coral, was on the downside for quite a few months, and I was noticing that. And after the hermit crabs got a scent of that it wasn't doing so well, they kind of went to town and started picking at the flesh, which eventually killed it, and therefore I had to get rid of that elegance coral, which was at the back corner. Now, another thing, if you're very observant or you watch my videos a lot and something's different, is that my anemone is not in the middle anymore. The reason that being is that I chose only very recently, today. So after it's been here for the full 2 months like prior to making this video, but today on the 4th of the 4th, I chose to move it because I added the new fish and I wanted to change the territories in the tank. So all that really I'm doing is just kind of confusing the pair, and the pair that are in the box hosted that anemone right in the middle there. So once that has been moved to a different location, they'd either follow that or choose to find a different area to host in, which will make them less aggressive towards a new addition of a fish. And I'll just show you the anemones as it is. Now, because I've moved it today, they're looking a little glum. So I have my bubble tip anemone right here, and I did feed them all today. So you can see they're a little bit like sucked up, and you can see how this one is, as we speak, see if I can get that to focus, like sucking up, as I only fed it a little while ago. And that's what my anemones seem to do. They eat, open up, and then they close for the rest of the day until I believe they digest the food, and then they're perfect the next day. So the anemones I have are called a crisper anemone or a sea bay anemone. So that's white with purple tips. See if I can get to focus that. That's a little hard. You can see that lovely anemone. I've got my bubble tip anemone here, and then my other bubble tip anemone at the back. That's the deal with the anemones. Nothing new or different has changed with them other than being moved. Now the new corals I've added to the tank have been this coral. This is called a toxic green torch coral. And these are, I wouldn't say rare, but I really don't see them a lot, and I go to a specific place to get all of my fish needs. And if you're in Australia or Brisbane in particular, go to a place, it's open on weekends, called Gallery Aquatica. It's owned by a very nice person, or people that I say, and they're extremely helpful. They'll help you with anything you need, and they'll gladly answer any questions that you have. And that's the reason I really like about them, is because they'll do deals for you when they know you're a regular client like I am, as practically all the stuff I have bought in this tank is from them, including the new fish. Now, I've been leading you on to this new fish, but I'll give you a bit of an insight of that in just a second. So the other new coral I got, and is very exciting, this is called a reverse stem purple hammer coral. Now, when you look at this, you go, oh, it's a bit dull. It's not as vibrant as you think most corals are normally. But I can tell you this coral has a pretty hefty price tag along with it. This coral is roughly a little bit smaller than the size of my hand. I have pretty big palms, and so it's a little bit smaller than the palm of my hand fully opened, and it costs $130. Now, to some that may sound like a lot, but then to others it may sound very little. But to me that was a lot, and the reason that being, it's called the reverse stem hammer coral. And the interesting thing about this is that a normal hammer coral like this, or if you can see like that hammer coral, the pink one, is that it's the same color all the way through. That's another interesting coral where I couldn't say that one because it's called the mottled hammer, and it's got a mottled effect, purple and green on it. So each like stem is a different color. But as you can see, this hammer coral is the same hammer color all the way through. And with this, if you can take a close look, you can see a tint of green. And that tint of green is the stem of that hammer polyp. And that is a fluorescent green. And that just gets extremely bright under the blue light and is actually very mesmerizing when you see that. So I can tell you, but you can't exactly see at the moment because this camera doesn't pick up the blue light which glows the corals. So you must be a little bit confused as to say, like, because you can't really appreciate its real value. Now, back to the new fish that I've added to the tank. I'll just go over the stock. Okay, sorry about that, the camera just cut out. So like I was saying, you can't exactly just appreciate the value of that coral, as it is an extremely nice coral. Now, this new fish that I was talking about, this new fish, I'll just go over the stock list of what I have in the tank at the moment. I have 6 fish, not including the new one. So I had, dare I say, 6 fish in my tank. That consisted of 4 clownfish and 1 Melanaris wrasse and my bicolored blenny. So like I said, just the 4 clownfish, which you can see over here, my Melanaris wrasse, and then my bicolored blenny, which is sitting in the middle. I'll just see if I can shine a torch on him. There he is, you can see his head popping out right there. And with the new addition of the fish in the tank, the clownfish have been quite aggressive towards that fish, and therefore that's why I have separated them. The fish I have added is called a Chorus wrasse. There's a couple of different names or of how people or retailers sell them in. They're known as a Chorus wrasse, which is also known as a clown wrasse. So they are the best description I could tell you without showing you a photo, but I will in a second, of clownfish of this wrasse would be the normal Nemo clownfish. It has the same colors and markings practically of that, but it is in a wrasse form. So if you could imagine my Melanaris wrasse having orange and white dots or like stripes on it, that's what you would consider a clown wrasse or a Chorus wrasse to look like. Now, something interesting about this fish, and the reason I got it, is that it has a major transformation in its life. These fish do grow quite large, as well as the Chorus wrasse, my Melanaris wrasse, grows quite large as well. But I know that, and I am very aware of the size they get. That is why I bought a juvenile, and hopefully I can watch it slowly grow in my system until I either get a bigger tank or have to give it somewhere. But in saying that, I'm very happy of having just that fish in the tank after everything settles in. Now, in talking about that transformation, the reason I got this fish is because it has a major transformation in its life. This transformation is a color transformation. It's not very like physical transformation, so like it grows nothing on its body, and it doesn't like lose anything as such, but it gains a lot of color. And it's one of the most interesting transformations I can personally say as a reefer I can see in the fish world, and that's why I was drawn to it. So as you can see, I'll show you a picture of it right there. That is a chorus wrasse or a clownfish wrasse, and that is what mine looks like at the moment. Now with that, I'm not entirely sure how long it takes them to transform. It could take them 4 to 6 months, or maybe like a year or two, if depends on the size you have it. But that's what it looks like at the moment, and it will eventually turn out to look like that, or like that, which I'm very excited to. And they are an extremely beautiful wrasse at that size, and even at the clownfish looking size, they're extremely beautiful to look at, and I'm very excited in seeing that growing. Now the reason you can't see it in the tank is because it's actually quite late here. It's actually 10 to 6 where I am in the evening, and the lights I put them brighter for the sake of the video, but the lights actually look like this at the moment. I'll see if I can show you. So it looks like that. That's the lights that they would have normally at a 6 o'clock time frame, and therefore it has gone to sleep under the sand. A cool, also interesting thing about wrasses is that they go to bed under the sand for protection. And that's also another interesting thing that I had to learn about my Malinaris wrasse and also this wrasse. It goes to sleep under the sand, and that's why it's there. So I'm expecting in the morning for it to come out, and then I'll hopefully can do another video of just that new fish, and I'll maybe hopefully give you a bit of information about that fish, and just tell you what's going on, and I can just show you a bit of that. So if you have any questions, you can search me up on Facebook of John's Dragons, or Jonathan JD, which stands for John's Dragons, and ask me any questions about the bearded dragons, if you know, or any of my animals, or if you're looking at asking if you're getting a tank or bearded dragons or anything like that. Any questions in regarding those situations, I'll most likely or I'll gladly help you. So that's it. Nothing too crazy has changed. I've moved a couple of corals around and added a couple more to the tank, and the new fish, and that's about it. And hopefully you'll see in the coming months everything grow and flourish as it has been.